Alright, so we all know this story. 59 Les Paul, Sunburst SG, Gibson PAFs, the list goes on and on when it comes to vintage Gibson guitars. I personally love Gibson, I love vintage Gibsons, I would love to own a 59 Les Paul, I mean who wouldn't? But something I've been thinking a lot about recently is what about the B-45 12 string? This is a B-45-12, a 12-string acoustic Gibson started in the early 60s. Dreadnought body, mahogany back and sides, spruce top, rosewood board, and this huge, open, chiming sound that only a vintage 12-string can give you. So this thing sounds like a choir. It's not your typical delicate finger-picking style 12-string, it's bold and massive. Is this a forgotten about vintage Gibson? In the midst of everybody freaking out over Les Pauls and anything else that's vintage and Gibson, is this a forgotten gem? It honestly has that old like revival folk energy, think of like early Dylan or maybe even the Beatles. Now admittedly, this guitar, this specific one, is really hard to play. I don't know if it's because I have tiny hands or if the neck is just massive, which it is, but either way, it's kind of hard for me personally to play a 12 string. Also, I don't have a whole lot of experience when it comes to 12 strings, but I did my best for you. Now, to be completely honest with you, I don't know for 100% fact that this is a B-45. This was something that was laying around the church, which I found in the case. Other than the serial number, which I tried my best to look up, there's no markings on it to indicate what it is. From all the research I've done, the best I can tell, this thing is from the 60s, but I mean honestly, compared to the hype that surrounds the 59 Les Paul and a myriad of other vintage Gibsons, I've never heard anyone talk about a vintage 12-string acoustic guitar by Gibson. One of the first things I notice about this guitar when I pick it up is how heavy it is. Now, I understand that there's 6 more strings than your average acoustic guitar, but for some reason in my mind, that doesn't mean that it should be double the weight. But this thing is heavy. Now, I'm sure this guitar has been sitting around in its case in a closet for quite some years because the tuning machines barely work. I have the hardest time turning them and getting them to stay in tune, and as you can tell from the playing, it's still slightly out of tune. These strings are also probably older than I am. The package is in that case. I've never heard of the brand, never seen anything like it. If you know anything about it, please put it down in the comments because I am a young pup. But the coolest thing about this guitar, and the thing that really is sticking with me, is the fact that even though this thing is from the 60s, even though it's been sitting around and who knows what its life has been like, the fact that it still looks this good and the fact that it still sounds like I'm sure it did back in the day just really speaks to Gibson and why people freak out over Gibson vintage guitars. This was just a chance for me to start a discussion, and I want to hear your thoughts when it comes to vintage guitars. Is it all just hype? Is it really worth it? Is it really something special when it comes to the older guitars? Or do people just get FOMO and they want to have the old thing because it's the old thing and people say they need to have the old thing? I personally would probably never buy a 12 string. I don't need one for the stuff that I play, but this is cool to have around and it looks cool on the wall, so that's a plus. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please talk to me down in the comments down below. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you own one. Let me know if you know anything else about this guitar. I would love to learn. But ultimately, let me know if vintage guitars are really worth the hype in your opinion, or do you think it's just FOMO and people play Gibsons and vintage guitars from back in the day just because it's the cool thing to do. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and I will see you in the very next video.